This podcast is recorded on Gadigal, Turrbal and Yagara land. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians past and present and to any First Nations people listening. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Brand Odyssey podcast, a podcast dedicated to uncovering and celebrating creativity at its finest and not so finest. I'm Kylie Hannaford.
And I'm Miranda Alatom, and we are from Sydney-based brand and design agency 3 Blocks Left. Each episode we take turns to tell each other a story that the other hasn't heard before. One week it will be where a creative project triumphs, and the next week where the creative wheels fall off. And then, of course, a little bit of banter and analysis of what went wrong or right. But first up, let's share a little bit of what's been going on behind the scenes in our own life. So, Kylie, do you have any makes or breaks from the last week that's gone by?
Well, mine's a make with a little bit of a break. So I had my niece Goldie over for a little sleepover. She's 3, so it was a second sleepover.
Cute.
Very cute. Yes. She calls me Gaga.
I love that. Gaga.
So cute. It's so
You're officially
cute.
Lady Gaga.
I am. I know. Gaga.
Why Gaga? Kylie to Gaga.
We were trying to make Auntie Kai happen.
Okay. She had other ideas.
And she just was like, nah, lame. Gaga.
Gaga.
And the way she said it is so she's like, Gaga. Gaga. Anyway, it was very cute. You know, she's got like a room and, you know, she was very excited about being in her room. And then, of course, at the last minute, she's like, Gaga, I want to go in your Gaga, I want to go in your bed. So anyway, in she hopped and she was just so excited. She just couldn't get to sleep. And so I was like, you know, they're stroking her back and I'm like, just go to sleep and shut your eyes. And when you wake up, we're going to cook some pancakes and we're going to have a hot chocolate. And she was like, okay. And then, you know, eventually.
I love how quickly you like, not in a very obvious way, but like a little bit of low-key bribery started filtering
absolutely.
in.
Yeah.
And then so many bribes and threats. Let's be real. You say you're not going to do it, but it happens.
It happens. Yeah, absolutely. And also I'm the auntie. So
true. You can deliver all the goods.
Yeah. So of course, then she wakes up at like 5 o'clock on the dot. She's like, Gaga, I want a hot chocolate. Just like, and I am not a morning person. I'm not.
I want a hot chocolate.
I'm not a morning person at all. And I was just like 5 o'clock. I mean,
it's not a time you know.
I did have the heads up that it might happen, so it was fine. But just when you're there, and it is amazing once you're up how you kind of kick into gear. But that 5 a.m. wake up call with the hot chocolate, and then I was
it's
like,
so
Goldie,
cute,
just
though.
try and go to sleep. Try and go back to sleep. And she's like, gave it about 3 minutes. She was like, I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about a hot chocolate.
A hot chocolate. That is standard. All right. Well, my story is a make. It's firmly a make. It's just a story of triumph and adversity and strength and grit. That I ran the 10K Bridge to Brisbane.
Oh, what a champion in our midst.
I know. Well, look, I definitely lent in. I feel like leading up, I talked to you and I was a little bit nervy, a little bit worried about doing it and not being very prepared. You know, I wasn't unprepared, but my regular run would be about 3.5 kilometers. So it's a big jump, but I actually loved it. I loved every second of it. I was really into it. And I said, it's kind of like sort of things that I don't love. Like I got up early and out the house onto a bus and then there's crowds and crowds of people. Like that's not my favorite thing. I'm not a crowds person, but the atmosphere was great. Maybe I am a crowds person.
Yeah, I always think those like community sporting things are really good vibe. My brother-in-law ran the Sydney Marathon.
Oh, fun.
Which I would never do. But I got up and went with my sister to cheer him on and it was really like quite moving and like just everybody there. It's always such a good atmosphere. People conquering things. So, and I remember doing City to Surf as well. Like it was very fun. Always very fun.
Actually, this just popped into my head. This was like the funniest, because people dress up and stuff like this. There was some people who were dressed up as bananas and, tutus, always tutus. Saw people have body glitter on. I didn't even know body glitter existed anymore, but it does. Anyway, this was the best one I saw, which I was running up, overtaking people, if you will. But anyway, I ran up behind this
Humble
mum.
brag.
Not humble.
Not humble brag at all.
I saw this mum walking. So she had her two, I guess, twin boys, because they looked about the same height, walking next to her, two 12-year-olds. And on the back of their T-shirts was written this. It said, dumbass 1, dumbass 2. She's not holding back. And then it said, in giant letters, I tried vaping for the first time, so my mum's making me run the bridge to Brisbane. So, literally,
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It's
that
so
is
brutal.
A-plus parenting.
So brutal. And everyone was laughing. I just looked around and I tried to get a photo of it, but I was running too fast and I couldn't.
Oh. Didn't want to miss out on that PB, baby.
There's a lot of good points and good things about this brand who are still kicking on today, but they're not really as relevant as they were in 2025 as they were in 2010. But I'll hit you with a clue, Kylie, and I think you're going to get it. So, Kylie, can you remember a time that you could be best friends with, or should I say top friends with, Lady Gaga and the Arctic Monkeys?
Is it MySpace?
It is, yes, MySpace. Who would ever forget the friends. 8 top friends?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have guessed it without the top friends.
Yeah, that was my little nugget to lead you in the right direction. But today I will be talking about MySpace. And I think if you are a millennial, the mention of this brand sort of stirs a certain nostalgia in you. Did you use it or?
I did. I was more a Tumblr girl, but I did have a MySpace, certainly.
I can't remember mine. I don't remember my handle, but I love MySpace. I think I would have been around 18, 19, 20 when it was big.
Yeah, see, I think I was a bit old for MySpace.
It was actually aiming at an even younger demographic,
I think it was more for the teenagers, whereas I think in my kind of, late teens, early 20s. So, yeah, but I did certainly have a MySpace, but yeah, lent into the Tumblr, had some poems on there, some book reviews.
I never did Tumblr. I thought it was just pictures. I didn't know you could put your poetry there.
I did.
Also, another thing about MySpace was it was kind of a little bit emo-ish. I wasn't actually an emo, but I was something. I was definitely something.
You weren't mainstream. You weren't basic.
I was not basic. I was in art school. I was in art school.
Yeah, we're talking about the early mid-2000s. Is that right?
2007, 8, 9, I think, is around the time we probably used it. And, what it was basically your own little corner of the internet, and you would use it to project your persona onto in that sort of self-aware teenage, early 20s way where you actually think that people are thinking about your every move. When I chose this topic, what I do remember was vivid memory of being in my share house and having my first Apple laptop, which was this, the white brick size, heavy little laptop, and just going down a vortex of finding music. So using it for that and clicking into different musicians' top 8s and their friends to find and just listening to all this music and just basically doing that for losing myself down the internet black hole for 4 hours.
Yeah, I think I can remember in MySpace that was its real distinction for me, was the music aspect, and that you could put a song as your identity when you landed on your page, right?
Yeah, I do remember my song was, because obviously, like I said, a huge reflection of who I was as a person. So I chose a John Frusciante, so not Red Hot Chili Peppers because that would be too mainstream, a John Frusciante instrumental, instrumental.
Sorry, say it again. What is it? A John?
So John Frusciante, who's the guitar player for Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you only know their stadium stuff.
Oh my God, the judgment.
That's That's what I mean. It was like it had to be so obscure and it was just instrumental. It didn't even need words. And that was like what I felt signaled my level of like underground knowledge.
Wow. I think I was probably on MySpace earlier than that because by 2007 I had Facebook. So
yeah, true. Maybe it was
I was
earlier.
well past MySpace by then. So I think mine would have been more 2004, 5, which, I mean, I don't know what my song was, but it would have been like a Sarah Blasco Postal Service indie moment. Obscure Australian artists.
Yes, and some Death Cab or
Oh, Death Cab for Cutie, for sure. A bit depressive.
A bit depressive. It's a little bit sad. We're not too happy on MySpace with our with our bios, but anyway, I do have a lot of love for MySpace. I feel like it was a bit of a pioneer, as kind of like the London Underground, a pioneer of a whole new way of behavior. It's the first real like mega social media platform. We did it on our desktops, but it had this really cool subculture aspect to it as well. So I do really love it as a brand and there's a lot to love, but it's also a very good case study to show what happens when a brand loses touch with its actual reason for being. So like many of these stories, you know, there's disruption that happens and, you know, you could point your finger and say, oh, but Facebook came along, what were we meant to do? But I do think MySpace put its energy in the wrong places and stopped delivering a product that tapped into the reason that people actually love them. So that's what we will unpack today. Quickie history. It was launched in 2003 by top friend Tom and Krista Wolf, who no one knows. 2005, it was the biggest social media network in the whole world. So it had, as we mentioned, custom profiles, embedded music, and it had this sort of creative, chaotic, punk DIY feel to it. So you could edit your own page with HTML. So, you just can't even imagine being able to edit the interface of Facebook or Instagram today. That wouldn't be happening. The music aspect as well. So it actually launched major music careers for artists like aforementioned Arctic Monkeys. Lady Gaga was huge. I even remember I found Lady Gaga when she was pre-fame and like she was probably MySpace famous, but I found her profile. I've also got a little video of her talking about like what MySpace, why it was so important, kind of spruiking them as well.
I've actually been a part of MySpace long before I was ever even signed to Interscope Records. It's really what helped me build my fan base on my own. I think the internet is so wonderful and has done so many amazing, wonderful things for my career.
She was like coming up, even Taylor Swift were coming up on MySpace.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah. And, obviously also more emo bands like Panic at the Disco. Bands were attributing their whole tour like experience and like getting on big band tours through connecting with artists on MySpace. So it was like very much this like music orientated platform. And that was like, it wasn't mainstream and it was a way that people could grow as artists. So I tried to unearth my MySpace. Unfortunately, they had a big like data loss. And also I couldn't remember my NaNoRandom password, which was the Hotmail I would have been using at the time. So I just thought I would like have a little look at some of the profiles of like celebrities that had MySpaces. So I found Kendall Jenner. She had a username Horse Girl and her bio said, it's all about me, and you could set your mood, and that was obviously set to hyper with a little hyper emoji. So we had Lana Del Rey. She was going by Lizzie Grant and she had some like glitter word art saying baby girl and listed her hobbies as Britney Spears, morphine, and motorcycles.
Jesus.
Yeah. And
she would have been young at the time.
Yeah, she wasn't. She would be pre-fame as well. And Harry Styles, he was 12.
Oh, baby.
Who he'd want to meet in his bio was Superman.
Aww.
So you can see it was a different time and kind of also like the start of the influencer, but the influencers were emo bands and girls with pink and black mullet hair. I feel like it was kind of the start of the influencer, but MySpace influencer was about like grit and aforementioned sad emotions, and like linen and lattes and cold pressed juices and Santorini were not welcome. Like I definitely remember myself from that era, like projecting chaos as your personality was the best thing.
Yeah, like being unhinged and being creative and out of the box was cool, rather than like, saturated photos of
Wholesome was not aspirational.
clean girl aesthetic, not aspirational.
Yeah, I miss that. I wish we could get back to like photos where you've got smudged eyeliner down your face.
Yeah,
and
things were a bit more chaotic. It's like everyone like reminiscing about the early days of Facebook.
True, and and having your digital camera album load up 28 photos of your one night at a pub.
28?
64.
Well,
I was going to say that's all that fit on my SD card.
Yeah, but you would. Like I remember a few years ago having to like go through and just, trawl through and just untag myself from all these hideous photos of, just nights out. It's just like, why am I tagged in all these? Like, it's not like I was doing anything embarrassing. It's just they're awful photos.
Terrible
and they're
photos.
all the same.
Yeah.
And it's not cute.
Maybe it would be nice to meet somewhere in the middle. Like, I feel like it's gone too far into like perfect.
Now it's all too perfect, right?
Yeah, we need to find some middle grounds. And I know that that's kind of like a trend on social media now, is like unfiltered, but it's all still staged.
It's still, yeah.
Anyway, so how did this glorious mess fall apart? Well, Facebook really started it. It was a catalyst. It was the disruption. So where MySpace was expressive and emotional and chaotic, Facebook was clean and standardized and corporate. But those things, for better or for worse, are what made it scalable. And, having these uniform pages made it easier to grow, and it wasn't glitchy. Whereas MySpace, people's pages were breaking, and you can't have a giant worldwide social media company where people can edit the back end.
I think that's it. I was just going to say that I think it's quite a confronting thing. Like even now, like, we're all much more adept at like, I mean, not that I'm saying I can HTML code, but the idea of HTML code is not foreign to me. Whereas back then, if someone had been like, just grab this code and put it in there, like that's just like not how my brain works. So
no, it was a specific skill. And
yes. So, having to curate something like that, like it's not for the masses.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well. Like as much as like, I loved that expressive side of MySpace. Well, maybe there's a lot of people who don't want to bother with that, and they do want to have their like platform to connect in a easier,
they just want to pop up some photos.
Yeah, so I do understand not everyone's that arty.
No one needs to digitally express themselves the same way creatives do.
Exactly. So then came...
That's sarcasm, everyone.
Yeah, just to clarify. That's making fun of our former selves. But then came the milestone. So 2005, we're getting into numbers. We love to get into these big sale, big company numbers. But
yeah, the big billion.
Well, not quite, but the 580 million. So News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, he slams down 580 million buckaroos to get MySpace. 2009, Facebook overtakes it, and the founders, they're like, see ya. Apparently Tom is living his best life in Hawaii, taking photos. He even has on his Instagram where he writes, new hobbies include surfing. I'm like, he is living a good, stress-free life. MySpace has served him well for sure. I don't think he's sad. Anyway, in 2011, it was sold again, but this time for the lesser amount of 35 million. So
wow,
a little bit of a drop.
Rupert lost like 550 million.
Some big amount of cash, yes.
Wow.
And then the plot twist that I didn't know about, well, like kind of like when I read it, I was like, oh, maybe I did remember that. But then they brought in around 2011 Justin Timberlake.
God, what? Really?
Yeah, JT came in to be kind of like a strategic creative director, had an office, and what they were trying to do, there's some beautiful quotes by him sort of talking about rebranding it as this like music-driven platform where people would have closer reach to their idols. So you would be able, as fans, to reach your musicians as per the original.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either, but
it's still probably too niche.
Yeah, they had the right instinct, which is like to double down on the music. But I think the problem is they actually missed the key insight that we've been talking about, is people didn't just love MySpace for the music. They loved it because they owned this little piece of the internet. Yeah. And I think that while maybe it didn't have to be as big as Facebook, it didn't have to be Instagram. Like, I mean, maybe Instagram kind of gave it back to us a little bit in the form of photography, but maybe there was a way to keep this like curated page in a more modern way, in a non-glitchy way, and like still have the music element, but they just haven't been able to capture that again. So the reason I chose to do MySpace as my takedown, it wasn't because I was just sort of going like, I wonder if a lack of purpose and direction caused my beloved MySpace to lose insight of its audience. No, it was because I found a really, really terrible 2010 logo rebrand that made me laugh.
Okay. Juicy.
So, yeah, I wish I was just out there pondering strategic problems of big companies, but instead I'm just like, oh, that logo is funny. So, as we said, in 2010, a lot of the youths had already jumped ship to Facebook.
The youths.
I actually have a funny memory. This guy I worked with being like, oh, do you have like Facebook? Everyone's on Facebook. I've got like 70 friends on Facebook. And I was basically like, mental note, get Facebook tonight. Like, lock that new social media down, which I just sort of find it funny that like we remember what we remember. Like,
I can remember hearing about Facebook and
can
joining.
You really?
Yeah, I can. Like, I heard about it on like the breakfast show or something. Cute. I used to watch the Today Show or Sunrise or something like that before work.
I used to as well. I used to watch it, and like we used to enter that $10,000 prize.
Anyway, and I remember them doing a story on it, and I think I'm remembering this right. I think they were saying MySpace is for like teenagers and Facebook is like MySpace, but it's for adults. And I was like, well, I'm an adult, so I better get on Facebook. And the rest is history. But I can remember where I was. Like, I can remember like the studio space I did at work.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you could have so many different more important conversations, but we both remember the moment someone told us about Facebook.
I know. How pathetic. So I mean, I guess it is such a huge, not a huge part of our lives, but it's a big cultural moment, right?
Yes.
But for whatever reason, it sticks in my mind. I can't remember what I did yesterday. Can't remember what I'm doing this weekend, but can remember that
Breakfast TV told you to
Koshy told me about Facey.
Yeah. Koshy. Anyway, so in 2010, MySpace knew it was on the back foot, and it knew that Facebook were these kind of like jockey college guys, and they didn't really get the cool kids, so they lent into this in the most poetic but creatively flawed rebranded logo. So
I love that idea that Facebook are the jocks.
Yeah, Facebook are the jocks and MySpace
I hate
are the
that
emo
they won.
goths.
As the arty kid that's not athletic, I hate that the jocks won.
Now this is like our cross to bear. It's like bringing MySpace back. The original logo, and this is also a story, as we have done in previous breaks, where the original logo has kind of got brought back. Like, this rebrand had short 2-year shelf life. Which means like I didn't personally recognize it at all. And as I said, MySpace was already over when they did this. So the original logo, though, is just like, you know, if you were Googling icon of person and there's like a kind of circle head and a pill-shaped, half pill-shaped body.
Oh, don't I know it? Yeah.
Yeah, that is the original logo, and now they've gone back to that, but 3 of them showing a team of people.
Connection.
Yeah, so it's hardly groundbreaking.
Isn't that amazing that such an influential piece of our culture has such a basic logo?
It is weird. Like, I'm like, why is that? Like, I think that's the thing about the brand today, is it's just like half-assedly kicking
It's amazing that it's still even there.
It is there. We'll talk more about that.
So it is still there?
It is still there, yeah.
I wonder if my profile's still up.
Well, that's something. There's some homework after
Lost
this.
to time.
If you can find it, I'd be very jealous. But the amazing thing is this creative and more conceptual logo is actually like way worse than the original logo. So what they did is they kept but they ditched the word space out of the logo and replaced it with just this kind of bracket of space.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was just empty space, very conceptual.
I see the allure of that.
But they just kind of like ditched their name for a bracket.
I tell you what it is. That's a campaign idea. It's not a logo.
100% is a campaign idea. Well, this would make it even more of a campaign idea. So they layered on top of that, on top of this new bracket space logo area, what they intended is you could upload your own artwork into that bracket. So they kind of like democratized their logo to the creative community.
Yeah. That was my
campaign idea.
Great campaign idea.
Yeah.
It is. I can see the allure of that idea, and especially because, they're talking to the fact that people are curating their spaces on MySpace. Like that's the whole point of it. So it's like this personalization, dynamic logo. I get that sell in, but it's not a good idea for a logo.
Not for a social media platform logo, no. And that was kind of like the other thing that made me want to do this topic is when I found the logo, I found this video from the moment that they had their tech bro exec present this to a room of people. So he has this logo and then he shows some examples of the artwork that people could upload. And it was just very 2010. So I'm talking like weird collages of like a guy on a unicycle and like over-treated photos mixed with like, do you remember doing those kind of collages in 2010? Like I definitely know I did, where it was like photos were being over-treated and combined.
I remember the over-treatment, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So when he unveiled the logo, like the whole room, it was just crickets. But the worst bit is he then asks for an applause.
Come on, some excitement, right?
He's like basically like, okay, guys, can I get some?
Maybe people don't realize I finished. I'll let them know it's time to applaud, and no one did it.
It was really bad. Very, very, very. I mean,
hard viewing.
Hard viewing, but 15 years ago, I'm sure the person has moved on. Basically, this rebrand, it didn't connect, and it was so bad that no one was able to like get behind it even in this big presentation. So
interesting that they didn't go, maybe we didn't get the reception that we wanted. Maybe we should.
Well, they did, eventually 2 years later.
They did not fail fast.
It aimed for minimalism and creativity, but instead they lost the name of their organization and like essentially lost.
I think it's so funny to just say that you're explaining that. It's like they forgot to put the name of their organization in their logo.
Which, we admit there's brands who have done that. The Nike swoosh, we love to talk about that.
They should have had MySpace and then maybe that space, that bracket thing is their icon. But not get rid of the space. Like you have to have your name there.
You have to have your name there. And and I think that's the other thing is like you can have a very like iconic icon and largely like apart from maybe Apple, like this is like, but like those are very simplified symbols. Like they still had the handwriting of and then they've got this bracket shape. Like it's not a simple symbol that we like attach to the brand. Like I do also like give them credit, and I think they wanted to create like this dynamic, changeable logo, and like that has also been achieved. Like Google, for example, like we all love when they do their little like artistic logo pop-up, but they're not changing. That's a pop-up. They're not changing their logo forever.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
So yes, MySpace made their logo a literal blank space, and I feel like they wanted the metaphor for I know they wanted the metaphor to be about creativity and expression, but instead it's a metaphor about the empty space of deactivated user accounts.
I just want to give them a hug.
Cue some Death Cab for cutie music.
I will follow you into the
Oh,
dark.
you and your karaoke, you can't stop her.
Next theme for karaoke needs to be emo MySpace.
Emo
Yeah,
bands.
Death Cab for Cutie.
And Panic at the Disco. I feel like that could be quite
Yeah,
good.
no, I love that.
To give them some credit, like I do think branding social media is quite uniquely challenging in it that you want it to be like universal and personal as well, but also has to function at this massive scale across now apps and devices and user cultures. And mostly you'll see organizations go for like very simple, clean, flexible identities. F in the Facebook and the Twitter bird, which now no longer exists.
R.I.P.
This like simplicity, and I feel like simplicity is the word of the podcast. It's not laziness. It's actually like really hard to achieve. I think personally,
absolutely.
achieving it's harder than like if I ever am doing anything. If I have like simplicity as a goal, I struggle way, way, way more at like you have to be disciplined and you have to like be precise, and that's hard, and still connect and not look lazy. Like it's a very hard thing to achieve.
And as they say, like kill your darlings, like kill your favorite ideas. Like even if something's a good idea, if it's not simple, if it doesn't work, you have to kill it. Like even if you love the idea.
Yeah, it's like the less is more.
Yeah, very difficult.
I think even like I sometimes in just when I'm designing something, like often sometimes I'm just like, well, go in and make everything 10% smaller. Take one thing away. Like it's like that is harder than beautiful, expressive, chaotic mess, you know, which can also be great. I like that you talked about the London Underground because that taking away the posters, like paring things back to the essentials, and then obviously with Daddy Frank being so
well
like
done.
Consistent, I got there, and precise, you know, that's why it was so successful. So this is why I personally, what I have come to through my MySpace discovery, this is what I believe why MySpace ceases to be relevant past 2010. And it's not the bad logo, like that's a fun little case study in itself, but it's not Facebook's rise. It's not like the tech issues. I think the problem MySpace has and still has is it lost touch with its core purpose. So essentially what made people fall in love with it was that it gave them like this little slice of the internet. It was a place to be chaotic or specific or sad, emo, whatever they wanted to be. But now, especially if you look at today, you can go on the website and it looks very bland. It's just like this sort of black interface, but they've got a music offering. They've got a networking site. Is it a blog? It's even got dating. So it's like it doesn't know what it is. None of it really feels whole or finished. And I think it's actually a really big shame because people loved MySpace and they love it today.
There's still a pocket of hardcore fans.
Well, you know, I went to The People. I went to see The People's Word, and like on Reddit.
The Holy Bible Reddit.
The Holy Bible Reddit, like people are popping off with their love for MySpace, like thousands and thousands of comments. So like that kind of brand equity exists for MySpace. Like there is so much love out there for them.
Similarly, I went to Reddit for the London Underground to see if there was any.
Not as much love?
No, it is just full of people talking about the horrors that they have seen on the tube. So I was like, this is a side quest we don't need. Again, I removed it from the chat.
It's like we could almost swap our Reddit threads now it's like your Reddit threads a break and my Reddit threads are a mate.
Yes.
It's got mixed up.
It got mixed up somewhere along the line.
So I'm going to read some out because, you know, I love to share the word of the people. So here is one of my favorite ones that I didn't spend too long on it. I got the vibes. They were good. So this person said, MySpace taught me HTML coding as a preteen. Every time I broke up with my pretend boyfriend, I'd change my profile to a sad vibe with a sad song to match. I think that struck a chord with me. Like there was a lot of projection of your personality.
I had a fake boyfriend.
I had one. Okay, I was in primary school. I used to write about him in letters to my friend.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. Well, I mean, he was early in high school. It was year 7. I just lied about kissing a boy when I was on holidays in Ulladulla.
I love it. Mine was a boy who liked me and asked me out and I said no. And then I subsequently developed a really big crush on him and then asked him out and he said no. But then to my friend, I just wrote these letters to her that we were like definitely boyfriend and girlfriend. And it was like, I remember feeling like really bad about it. Like it was like a dirty secret that I was making this up. Like, who cares? But it feels momentous that you've done that when you're like 11 or 10 years old.
I know, what a pair of losers we are.
Anyway, that's probably why that one struck a chord with both of us. So the other one is music, layouts, real human beings, no BS, just the innocence of it all, no ads clogging up my feed. So yeah, more innocent time for social media.
Yeah, the no ads. What a world. Yeah, that's nice.
This little genius called Academic F basically summed up everything I didn't know I was thinking into 2 sentences. So absolutely. MySpace offered a truly unique and curated space where people could showcase their personalities in a way that felt personal and meaningful. It wasn't just about mindlessly scrolling. It was about crafting your own little corner of the internet, whether through your blog posts, a customized profile, or even a music playlist. Your page was a reflection of who you were, and connecting with others felt more intimate and genuine because of it. Compare that to what came after with Facebook, which turned out to be a total disaster in so many ways. It shifted the focus from individuality and creativity to engagement at all costs, feeding us an endless stream of shallow updates and polarizing content. And let's not even start with how it has essentially rotted our parents' brains with misinformation and contributed to serious harm like sowing division and undermining democracies worldwide. MySpace might have had its flaws, but it isn't what we were left with today.
Oh my God, that's so depressingly true.
It is so, Academic F on Reddit, like they really summed up like what MySpace was and where we are kind of social media today, which is really toxic, really bad.
Because I remember when Facebook started, obviously we talked about that, but I remember like it felt exciting, like connecting, because I think it was like the connecting with all your old school friends and like everyone was on there and it just was like exciting and optimistic and like, we were uploading all these photos and it didn't matter and we had that weird third person status update. And now it's just devolved into this generic ads division, all the things that he just said.
And like
so depressing.
Also, toxic, promoting toxic kind of benchmarks for life. And like there's nothing that and I think the addictive nature of it as well, like there's nothing that like no one's going out there today saying, oh, I just love Instagram. And I think I had that like exciting moment with Instagram as well when I first got it, and like you'd look at your photo grid and you'd make it creative and like that's gone. It's like just feels really empty and not good for our brains anymore. I feel like almost sad now that like
that it won out, that has won out. Yeah.
I didn't know I cared so much about MySpace until I did this topic.
I want to save MySpace.
Save MySpace.
I want to know what the hell happened to Tumblr.
Bring back MySpace and Tumblr. But,
if MySpace is that weird arty kid and Facebook is the jock, who's Tumblr?
Maybe like
the drama kid?
The drama kid. Yeah, they're the drama kid or like someone who's really good at like creative writing.
Yeah, they're kind of more, I feel like Tumblr is a little bit more like top of the class in art.
Yes, it's like the academic.
And food technology.
They're like slightly academic nerd, but cool.
Yes.
MySpace had all the ingredients to be timeless and bring people together in this subculture creative way. And I'm just hoping that maybe one day we'll all get back a little digital corner to call our own and tell everyone who we are through auto-playing sad songs. But, just a little,
until then,
little candle for that moment to come back and maybe them to find their feet.
I wonder if there is, there's like all this emphasis, well, certainly in the business building world, about personal branding and like having this personal brand. I wonder if there's a world where, we get off LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, which are all these really structured places, and go back to something like MySpace where it is about like personal branding and expression. But I guess then it's just like you can just create your own website, right?
Yeah, but that's not a network.
True, yes.
Yeah, I think there's space for it to
Maybe we pitch
exist.
that business owners and personal brands on MySpace.
I feel like we've got a startup in us.
Well, stay tuned. I'm going to go see if I can dig up my MySpace account.
Oh, fingers crossed.
And that is it for today. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening. We're super keen to get to know our listeners, and so we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or feedback or any stories of your own, your career make or breaks that we could read out on our episodes, we would love you to get in touch. All the ways you can contact us are in the show notes, or simply go to our website, 3blocksleft.com.au. Thanks for listening.
And so ends another expedition into the lands of brands, brought to you by design and brand agency 3 Blocks Left.